Welcome to another descent into Azeroth's darkest corruptions, where death itself becomes the punchline. Today, we're exploring what happens when the Merc with a mouth becomes a Death Knight who literally cannot die even by undeath standards. Imagine a healing factor so aggressive it fights off the Lich King's domination. Picture Death Knights trying to conduct serious damnation while someone won't stop making respawn jokes. Think about what happens when someone who already broke the fourth wall meets a universe where death is just another subscription service. This is the story of a corruption that corrupted the very concept of being corrupted. And if you genuinely enjoy this kind of dark storytelling, consider subscribing and liking the channel. But only if it truly resonates with you. The rune blade pierced my chest in a place that should have mattered. Right through the heart. Classic death blow. Arthas really knew his anatomy. Too bad I failed that class along with basic sanity. The Lich King stood over me in Icecrown Citadel, probably expecting me to scream or beg or do that whole dramatic death rattle thing. Instead, I looked down at the glowing sword sticking out of my chest and laughed. Not a normal laugh, the kind that makes even undead armies uncomfortable. Hey there, Frosty. Nice sword, compensating for something. His helmet tilted. Confusion from the guy who murdered his own father. That was new. The necromantic magic flooded through me. Cold, darker than my usual Tuesday depression. It was supposed to kill me, bind my soul, make me another mindless servant. But here's the thing about healing factors that defy physics. They really don't care about your magical death rules. My flesh started knitting around Frostmourne. The legendary blade that claimed thousands of souls was stuck in me like a bad splinter. This is awkward. Do we kiss now? I'm getting mixed signals here. Arthas pulled the blade free. My wound closed instantly. Blood stopped being blood and became something else. Black, thick, wrong, but still mine. You cannot die, he said, voice like grinding glaciers. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Along with maximum effort and remembering that you readers are still watching this. Hi folks, welcome to the worst career change ever. The other Death Knights around us shifted. Uncomfortable. They signed up for eternal damnation. Not eternal commentary. Arthas raised Frostmourne again. This time he didn't stab. He commanded. The full weight of the Lich King's will crashed into my mind. Domination magic designed to break heroes and kings. It found my brain and immediately got lost. Like trying to navigate a funhouse designed by Lovecraft and decorated by a sugar-high kindergartner. Your mind. Arthas actually sounded surprised. It's already broken. Broken implies it worked before. Bold assumption. Ice, baby. The magic tried again, harder. I felt it rewriting parts of me. My blood turned to ice. My organs stopped working. My skin grew pale as printer paper. Everything that makes a person alive just switched off, except the healing factor. And the mouth. Those stayed frustratingly functional. Look, if you're trying to make me your undead slave, you might want to check the warranty. I'm pretty sure I void all supernatural contracts by existing. He struck me down 17 times in the next minute. Each death perfect, each resurrection immediate. My body kept rebuilding itself wrong. Undead but alive, corrupted but regenerating. A paradox that shouldn't exist. Have you ever wondered which of Azeroth's corruptions would claim them first? Drop your theories in the comments. I need to know I'm not alone in thinking about this. The other Death Knights watched in horror. They'd seen many things. Heroes falling, paladins breaking, hope dying. But they'd never seen someone treat death like a minor inconvenience. Sir, one finally spoke. Thessarian, I think. Hard to tell with all the skulls and doom aesthetics. What is he? An impossibility, Arthas replied. I prefer narrative disaster, but impossibility works too. The Lich King's solution was elegant in its stupidity. If he couldn't kill me properly, he'd just make me a Death Knight anyway, force the dark powers into me. Runic magic, unholy strength, the hunger for suffering. The transformation should have erased Wade Wilson. Should have left only a death-serving husk. Instead, it made everything worse. Or better. Depends on your perspective and alcohol tolerance. My suit turned black and blue. Runes carved themselves into my katanas without my permission. Very rude. The voices of the dead started whispering in my head, which was adorable since they had to compete with the voices already there. Welcome, brother, another Death Knight said. Koltira, trying to be friendly to the new abomination. Brother? We just met. At least buy me dinner first. Something romantic. Maybe at a graveyard. I hear the ambience is to die for. They didn't laugh. Death Knights never laugh. Well, except for me. I laughed constantly. At the futility, at the darkness, at how everyone's armor had skulls on it like they shopped at the same hot topic. Arthas assigned me to Acheris, the floating necropolis where Death Knights trained, where they learned to embrace their damnation. The first day, they tried to teach me to raise the dead. Standard Death Knight 101. Channel your hatred, the instructor said. Let the darkness flow through you. The darkness can barely find parking space in here, buddy. It's pretty crowded already. I raised the corpse. It immediately started dancing. Not shambling. Dancing. Like it heard music no one else could. What did you do? The instructor looked genuinely disturbed. I don't know. I was thinking about that scene from Thriller. Michael Jackson really understood the undead aesthetic. They tried teaching me runic magic. I kept drawing smiley faces with the blood runes. They attempted unholy presence training. I made fart jokes every time the shadows gathered. But the worst part, the absolute worst part, my healing factor wouldn't let me be a proper undead. Every time my body tried to decay, it regenerated. Every time my soul tried to darken completely, it snapped back like cosmic rubber band. I was stuck between death and undeath, a joke that neither side found funny. The Scarlets attacked Acheris a week later, religious fanatics trying to purge the undead. They found me in the cafeteria explaining to a ghoul why the food here was worse than airline peanuts. Die, abomination. Their leader charged me with a blessed sword. I let him stab me. The holy weapon burned. Actually hurt for once. Then my body pushed it out like a bad taco. That tingled. Do it again. I'm trying to feel something other than existential dread and the writer's poor life choices. The Scarlet Crusader stumbled back. What manner of undeath is this? The kind with premium health coverage and a severe lack of editorial oversight. The other Death Knights joined the battle. Efficient. Brutal. Silent. Everything I wasn't. I fought too, swinging rune blades while providing commentary like the world's worst sports announcer. Every kill came with a joke, every death with a punchline. The Scarlets retreated not because we beat them, but because I wouldn't stop talking. That was, Coltira paused, searching for words. Deeply disturbing. Thank you. I try. Actually, I don't try. It just happens, like emotional trauma and Canadian healthcare. Days blended into weeks. The Lich King tried different approaches, more domination magic, stronger curses, even personal attention from the Valkyr. Nothing worked properly. I was his Death Knight, but also not. Bound but free, dead but alive. A walking violation of the natural order that was already pretty violated to begin with. The worst attempt came when he tried to use me against the Argent Crusade, sent me to kill Tyrion Fordring. I found the paladin praying in his chapel, Ashbringer glowing with holy light. Death Knight, he said, not turning. I sensed your corruption approaching. Corruption's a strong word. I prefer alternatively alive. Also, sweet sword. Yours actually looks like it belongs in a museum. Mine look like I bought them from that guy who hangs out behind the gas station. Tyrion turned, saw me. His expression went through several stages. Anger, confusion, more confusion. Did confusion have a sequel? Because he was experiencing it. You're laughing. The undead don't laugh. First time for everything, Goldilocks. By the way, the Lich King says hi. Also die, but mostly hi. He's very conflicted about social interactions. We fought because that's what the script demanded. Holy light versus unholy darkness. The eternal struggle between good and evil. Except I kept breaking character. Is that move sanctioned? Because it seems like cheating. I'm filing a complaint with Undead HR. Tyrion's light burned me, actually properly hurt. My healing factor fought back, rebuilding what his righteousness destroyed. We were stuck in the world's most philosophical stalemate. You regenerate, Tyrion observed between strikes, like a troll, but wrong. Everything about me is wrong, holy man. I'm like a cosmic typo that gained sentience and a weapons permit. His next strike separated my head from my shoulders for about 3 seconds. Then my body caught it like a fumbled football and reattached it backwards. Oops, hold on. I twisted it back around. There we go. Much better view of you trying to process this narrative disaster. Tyrion lowered Ashbringer. Not in defeat, in exhaustion. What are you? Deadpool, Wade Wilson on Tuesdays. The Merc with a mouth when I'm feeling professional. Currently your friendly neighborhood Death Knight who won't follow union rules. The Lich King cannot control you completely. Nobody can. I tried controlling myself once. Lasted about as long as my first marriage, which ended when she found out I was sleeping with death. Literally. She's got cold feet. The paladin studied me with those eyes that had seen too much. You jest about darkness that consumes millions. I jest because the alternative is admitting this whole situation is pants on head insane. Your world has space goats with Russian accents fighting zombie elves, while ancient tentacle gods whisper sweet nothings. And I'm the weird one? He didn't attack again. Smart man. Instead, he did something worse. He tried to help. There might be a way to free you from the Lich King's grasp. Pass. I just got this sweet dental plan. Sure, all my teeth are technically dead, but the coverage is killer. Literally. But Tyrion was already planning. Heroes always plan. It's their thing, along with dramatic speeches and disappointing sequel potential. I left him there and returned to Acheris. The other Death Knights were having their weekly brooding session, very important for morale. Brothers, Darian Mograine addressed the gathered undead. The time of our liberation approaches. Oh good, a rebellion subplot, because my existence wasn't complicated enough. When the Lich King's power wanes, we will break free, he continued. Question. I raised my hand. If we break free, do we keep the employee discount at the Undercity? Because their plague prices are actually pretty reasonable. Everyone stared. They always stared. You'd think undead would be better at social cues. The rebellion happened anyway. Big dramatic battle at Light's Hope Chapel. Death Knights versus the Argent Dawn. The Lich King's power broken by Tyrion's faith and Darian's sacrifice. Suddenly, we were free. Free will returned to corpses that shouldn't have it. We are liberated, Thessarion announced. Free to choose our own path. I choose chaos, I said. Also maybe a taco. Can Death Knights eat tacos? Someone should study this. If you had their power in Azeroth, would you choose alliance, horde, or stay neutral? Tell me in the comments. I'll be reading them. The newly freed Death Knights formed the Knights of the Ebon Blade, independent, neither alliance nor horde, just undead trying to find purpose. In their second life, I joined because the alternative was wandering alone, and even I have limits on acceptable insanity. The first mission went sideways immediately. Sent to Northrend to fight the Scourge, found myself face to face with Sylvanas Windrunner instead. The Banshee Queen, the Dark Lady, the only person in Azeroth with a resurrection story more complicated than mine. Another Death Knight, she said. Arrow knocked. How tedious. Actually, I'm special. Like Short Bus Special, but with more swords and meta-humor, she fired. The arrow went through my eye. I pulled it out and handed it back. You dropped this. Also, you're gorgeous. I mean, in a dead inside and outside kind of way. Very goth. Very now. Are you single? Because I'm very available and have zero standards. Sylvanas actually looked surprised. Points for that. You dare speak to me this way? I dare because consequences stopped mattering about 3 deaths ago. Or was it 4? I lost count after Arthas got creative with the meat grinder. You're insane. Clinically, cosmically, and creatively. It's my brand. Speaking of which, want to grab coffee? I know a great place in Undercity. The coffee tastes like despair, but the ambience is to die for. She left. Probably for the best. My track record with women was bad when I was alive. Death hadn't improved it. The Ebon Blade kept sending me on missions, each one worse than the last. Not because of danger, because I couldn't take anything seriously, sent to fight the cult of the damned. Found them mid-ritual. We summon the darkness. We embrace the void. You embrace poor life choices and worse fashion sense. Seriously, Robes? In this economy, they tried to curse me. Adding curses to whatever I already was just made things statistically weird. Sent to retrieve rune blades from Naxxramas. Ended up having a conversation with Kel'Thuzad about his phylactery. It contains my very essence, the Lich explained. So it's like a Horcrux. Did you read those books? Because your whole aesthetic screams Voldemort, but with better special effects budget. Silence, Death Knight. Make me. Oh wait, you can't. Because I'm technically already dead, but also not. And honestly, the writers really didn't think this through. The worst mission involved investigating old god corruption in Icecrown. Yogg-Saron's whispers were supposed to drive people mad. They found my mind and immediately filed a complaint with management. Your thoughts, the whispers said. They hurt us. Welcome to my world, tentacle friend. Population, me, and the approximately 17 different versions of crazy fighting for the driver's seat. The Saronite, Yogg-Saron's blood, tried to corrupt me. Turn my armor black with veins of madness. Very aesthetic. Very impractical. You cannot corrupt what's already broken, I told the whispers. It's like trying to burn ash. Technically possible, but ultimately pointless. The other Death Knights started avoiding me. Not from fear, from exhaustion. I was the only undead creature that made eternal damnation seem longer. Then came the day Arthas fell. The Lich King defeated atop Icecrown Citadel. Big dramatic moment. Heroes cheering, villains dying, credits ready to roll, except Bolvar took the crown, became the new Lich King. Because this universe doesn't understand the concept of quit while you're behind. There must always be a Lich King, Tyrion had said. There must always be poor narrative choices, I replied, but nobody heard me, too busy being dramatic. Bolvar tried to command me once, just to test if the new management had better control. Death Knight, his voice boomed in my head. You will serve. I'll serve looks, maybe some sass, definitely disappointment. But obedience isn't on the menu. His control slipped off my mind like water off a duck's back. If the duck was radioactive and the water was existential dread. Without the Lich King's war, the Ebon Blade struggled for purpose. Some joined the Alliance, some the Horde, some went rogue. I went to Orgrimmar. Not to join the Horde, just to see if Garrosh would get my jokes. He didn't. What are you supposed to be? The war chief growled. I'm the punchline to a joke nobody asked for. Also technically your worst nightmare, but with better dialogue. Death Knights serve a purpose. I serve chaos and occasionally tacos. Speaking of which, your city's food carts are subpar. 2 stars. Would not die here again. Garrosh tried to kill me. It went about as well as expected, meaning I regenerated, made jokes, and his advisor suggested maybe letting me leave was the strategically sound choice. Wandered to Stormwind next. Varian Rin was on the throne, very serious, very kingly, very unprepared for me. A Death Knight seeks audience, his guard announced. I seek lots of things, meaning, purpose, a decent therapist who accepts undead insurance. But audience works too. State your business. My business is being everyone's problem. I'm like a supernatural HR violation that won't stop filing complaints about itself. Varian studied me, king eyes. The kind that had seen war and made hard choices. You're not like the other Death Knights. Understatement of the expansion pack, Your Majesty. You mock death itself, Varian observed. That's dangerous. Everything's dangerous when you can't die properly. Watch. I stabbed myself with my rune blade. It went through my chest, out my back. See? Dangerous. Also pointless. Like this whole conversation. The king dismissed me. Smart move. I was everyone's problem, but nobody's responsibility. The Cataclysm came next. Deathwing burst from the earth like the world's angriest groundhog. Reality broke. The world shattered. Everyone panicked. I stood in the ruins of Stormwind Park watching the destruction. Finally, I said to no one. Someone else who understands dramatic entrance timing. The corrupted dragon aspect flew overhead, raining destruction. His madness touched by old gods, driven by whispers that would break lesser minds. Hey, Deathwing, I shouted. Your therapist called. You missed your appointment. He didn't hear me, probably for the best. My humor versus his madness might have created a paradox that even this universe couldn't handle. The world needed heroes. It got me instead. The Ebon Blade assigned me to fight the Twilight's hammer. Doomsday cultists trying to bring about the Hour of Twilight found them in Deepholm, conducting rituals to corrupt earth elementals. The end times approach. Their leader screamed, "All will be consumed by shadow." Been there, done that. Got the cursed t-shirt. It doesn't fit right and screams when I wash it. They summoned a faceless one. Tentacles and madness given form. It looked at me, into me, through me. Your mind, it gurgled. It's already touched by the void. Touched is generous. More like the void took one look and filed a restraining order. We fought because that's what you do with eldritch horrors. It tried to corrupt me with whispers of N'Zoth, the old god's promises of power and purpose. Join us, the whispers said. Embrace the ending of all things. I already embraced ending. Multiple times. It keeps rejecting me like a bad organ transplant. The faceless one died confused. They usually did around me. Then came the Dragon's Soul raid. Big finale to stop Deathwing. Heroes gathered from across Azeroth. The dragon aspects united, Thrall wielding the ultimate weapon. And me, assigned to hold off corrupted drakes while the real heroes did hero things. This is discrimination, I told the raid leader. Just because I break the fourth wall doesn't mean I can't contribute to dramatic boss fights. You talked through Ultraxion's monologue. It was 40 minutes of darkness comes and despair awaits. Someone had to provide commentary. The viewers were getting bored. The final battle on Deathwing's back was epic. Heroes fighting corrupted tentacles while flying through the maelstrom. The dragon aspects channeling their power. The world's fate in the balance. I was fighting corrupted bloods. Basically, Deathwing's immune system. You guys know your antibodies on a dying dragon fighting undead comic relief, right? This is peak absurdist theatre. They didn't respond. Mindless corruptions never appreciate good banter. Deathwing fell. The world was saved. Everyone celebrated. The dragon aspects lost their power but gained mortality. Very poetic. Very meaningful. So, I asked Alex Strasser, the life binder, can you fix whatever I am? She looked at me with ancient eyes. You're beyond life and death. A paradox that shouldn't exist. Story of my own life. Thanks for nothing, Dragon Lady. Peace lasted about 5 minutes before the next crisis. Pandaria appeared from the mists, a whole continent hidden by magic, because this world doesn't understand the concept of enough. The Horde and Alliance immediately started fighting over it, because of course they did. I went to Pandaria just to see what the fuss was about. Found the Shah. Negative emotions given physical form. The Shah of anger looked at me, tried to possess me with rage. You're already angry, it said, confused. At everything, at nothing, at existence itself. It's called millennial burnout, Shadow Buddy. We're all angry. I just process it through humor and violence. The Shah of Despair tried next. You know only suffering and sorrow. I know suffering, sorrow, and approximately 17 different ways to make chimichangas. The last one's most important. The Shah couldn't handle me. I was already all the negative emotions, but somehow functional. Like a walking therapy session that nobody asked for. The Pandaren were polite about my presence. Too polite. Welcome, Death Knight, they'd say. I'm about as welcome as food poisoning at a buffet, but thanks for lying. Then Garrosh went crazy, corrupted by Yisharja's heart, because we needed another corruption storyline. The Siege of Orgrimmar. Heroes united to stop a war chief gone mad with power. I was there, technically helping, mostly providing commentary. You know, I told Vol'jin as we fought through Kor'kron forces. This whole thing could have been avoided with better mental health resources. Not daytime, Death Knight. It's never the time. That's why we keep having these problems. Garrosh fell. Vol'jin became war chief. The cycle continued. Then came the Iron Horde. Alternate timeline, Draenor. Time travel nonsense that made my existence seem reasonable by comparison. So we're fighting alternate versions of dead people? I asked Khadgar. It's complicated. Everything here is complicated. I'm a regenerating undead comedian in a world where dragons discuss philosophy and space goats fight demons. Complicated is our baseline. The campaign in Draenor was a mess. Gul'dan escaped to our timeline, because villains never stay properly dead here. Professional courtesy issue. The Legion invaded, again bigger this time. The Tomb of Sargeras opened. Demons everywhere. The world ending for real this time. Promise, pinky swear. I fought at the Broken Shore. Watched Varian die. Actually die. No takebacks, see? I told his corpse. That's how you're supposed to do it. Permanent. Meaningful. Not this wishy-washy regenerating nonsense I've got going on. Vol'jin died too. Made Sylvanas war chief, because putting the undead in charge always works out well. Hey, Dark Lady, I said when she took power. Remember me? Still available. Still have 0 standards. She ignored me. Again. But with more authority this time. The fight against the Legion took us to Argus, the demon's homeworld, fighting beside the army of the light. Literal space crusade. Illidan was there, being dramatic. I've sacrificed everything. What have you given? My sanity, my mortality, my ability to take anything seriously, and my dental insurance copay. You were saying? The final battle against Argus the Unmaker. The world soul corrupted into universe-ending horror. The Titans themselves joining the fight. I was holding off infinite demons, while the heroes fought a god. This is above my pay grade. I shouted to no one. I didn't sign up for cosmic horror. Oh wait, I didn't sign up at all. Arthas just stabbed me and here we are. Sargeras stabbed Azeroth with his sword before being imprisoned. Because even victory comes with asterisks in this universe. The wound bled Azerite. Everyone started fighting over it. The cycle continued. Then Sylvanas burned Teldrassil, started the Fourth War. Because 3 weren't enough. This is getting repetitive, I told anyone who'd listen. War, corruption, redemption, repeat. It's like the world's longest and bloodiest soap opera. The war led to Enzoth's release. The final old god. Tentacles and madness everywhere. My aesthetic, really. The corruption spread. The world drowning in void. Heroes falling to whispers. Enzoth looked at me during the final battle. 1,000 eyes seeing into my broken soul. You're already mine, it said. You just don't know it yet. I'm nobody's. I'm like a rental car with suspicious stains. Technically functional, but nobody wants to claim ownership. We won. N'Zoth died. The world saved again. Until next expansion. Sylvanas shattered the veil between life and death. The Shadowlands opened. The afterlife was just another content patch. Even death has sequels here, I muttered. Can't anything stay properly finished? The answer was no. It never could. This world, Azeroth, was trapped in cycles. War and peace. Corruption and redemption. Death and undeath, and I was trapped with it. The Death Knight who couldn't die properly. The joke that wouldn't end. Standing in Oribos, city of the dead, watching souls get sorted into their eternal rewards or punishments. The Arbiter looked at my soul. Froze. Error messages probably flying through cosmic judgment protocols. What afterlife do I belong in? I asked the attendant. You don't. You're an impossibility that shouldn't exist. Story of my life. And death. And whatever this is, I wonder still. Through every expansion, every crisis, every world-ending threat that gets resolved just in time for the next one. The Merc with a mouth became the Death Knight. With a death wish. Except the wish never comes true. I crack jokes at old gods. Flirt with faction leaders. Break the fourth wall so often it's more like a fourth suggestion. The other Death Knights tolerate me. Barely. The Ebon Blade's greatest shame and weirdest asset. Why do you persist? Tyrion asked me once. Why not find peace? Because someone needs to point out how insane this all is. And because the writers apparently hate me specifically. He didn't understand. They never do. I'm the corruption that corrupts corruption. The death that won't die. The joke that Azeroth plays on itself. And I'll keep regenerating. Keep talking. Keep breaking every rule this universe thinks it has. Because in a world of infinite respawns and eternal wars, I'm the only honest thing here. The dead don't rest in Azeroth. They just get recast for the next expansion.